Hello and welcome to another episode of Cards Unbarred. My name is Ryan, and in this video I'm going to teach you Stage B of Eternal decks designed by Hiroken. To set up for Stage B, first place the two stage cards in the stage card area. First is the Stage B Ghost Town card, and second is the Star Stage card. Then place the 9 purple star cards on top of the Star Stage card. The order of these cards will not matter, as players will be able to freely look through this deck throughout the game. Next, place 1 jewel on top of the Stage B card in the associated area. Then take the 4 Ghost Town field cards, shuffle them together face down, and place them in the top row of the field card area. And flip the top card face up. Next, following the normal rules for setting up an Eternals deck, place the B1, B2, B3, and B4 Eternals in the top row of the field. The 4th lap bonus area in the top row will not be used in Stage B, so you will be replacing the camp card that goes there with the B4 Eternal. The B4 Eternal, the Vampire, is new if you've only played Stage A on beginner mode. The Vampire does not have an ability card in its deck, but it does have 2 rare cards. And finally, place the 4 keys on top of the 4 B Eternals. The order in which you place the colored keys on the Eternals does not matter. Finally, set up the rest of the game as you did during Stage A by placing the A Eternals in the middle row, the C Eternals in the bottom row, the jewels in the jewel card area, and if you're playing a 3-player game, be sure to place the 3-player jewel card on top of the board before placing the jewels. Place the 3 hearts in the 4th lap bonus area in the middle row. Place the 5 stars on the board. You will notice the 6th star in Stage A is missing, as that has been replaced with the Stage B cards. Additionally, have each player pick a starting color and take the 5 cards in their color, as well as the 2 communication discs. And be sure to place any player aids and ability aid cards nearby if players need them. Now, depending on the difficulty mode you choose to play, will determine how the rest of the field cards and the river bonus area gets set up. For this video, I will be setting up for standard mode, but if you'd like to pause the video at this moment, you can see how the different difficulty modes will change the setup for the field cards and the river bonus area. Additionally, I am using the A1, A2, A3 Eternals, as well as the C1, C2, and C3 Eternals. But if you'd like to randomly set them up, you can use the D4 that comes with the game to roll to remove 1 Eternal at random. With all that in mind, let's finish setting up the game for standard mode. The field card for the middle row is going to be the cave. And for the bottom row, you will take the forest, grassland, lake, and riverside field cards, shuffling them face down, placing them in the bottom row, and flipping the top card face up. And finally, for the river bonus area, we'll place the Game Over card on the right side, followed by the 3 river rare cards. And now that everything is set up, all players should shuffle their 5-card starting deck and draw 3 cards and begin play. All rules for Stage B will be the same as explained in the original How to Play Basics video, with the following exceptions. Gaining stars no longer wins you the game. To complete Stage B, you need to collect the 4 key tokens on top of the 4 B Eternals. Now whenever you gain a star, it will give you a star bonus instead. And this is true for all other stages through the rest of the system. And for Stage B, that star bonus will be these purple cards. There are numbers 1 through 9 in these purple cards that are placed on the Star Stage card. Whenever you gain a star, which you gain them exactly the same way as you did in Stage A, with the exception of the A ability cards, which I'll explain those shortly, but whenever you gain a star, you place it on this star card area, and then the player who placed the star gets to go through this purple deck and pick any one of these cards and put them into their hand directly. So it works similarly to the river rare cards. Whenever you're the player to play the cards into the river, you gain that rare card. These work the same way. Of course, these are more limited because it's specifically a purple colored card and only has that 1 number. But of course, once a player takes that card is no longer available for other players to take. So whenever they gain another star bonus in the future, you'll be limited to what's left in this deck. And as I mentioned during setup, players can go through this deck freely at any time, so they know what numbers are available when they are about to get a star bonus. The other thing to point out, there are only spaces for 4 stars, and in Stage A, when you got 4 stars, you won the game. But in stage B, there are 5 potential stars to gain. And after you have gained the 4th one, you can still gain the 5th star. You just simply put the star on top of it. There we go. And you are able to grab a star bonus. So you're not limited to just 4 of these from here. You can still get all 5 stars. Additionally, the A Eternals now have their ability cards immediately used. So let me grab the Phoenix Eternal, and this works the same for all of the A's. In stage A, you place this card up in the top area for the stage A cards, but in stage B and beyond, these will immediately go to the discard pile, and you will gain a star bonus. So you just go through the purple deck and grab one of these cards and put them in your hand. So during stage B, at most you could get 8 out of these 9 cards from the purple star cards, 5 from the actual star tokens themselves, and 3 from the A Eternals. Playing cards to the field and the river work the same in stage B as they did in stage A. The major difference is in the top row of the field, there are now Ghost Town field cards. Those 4 field cards are Castle, Fog, Lost Forest, and Festival. The first one we can see here is Fog, and what Fog does is it makes you play the same number through the entire row. Now, these field cards are going to break that normal rule of you can't have same numbers or same colors next to each other, and that's okay. Anytime a field card or another rule contradicts the base game rules, then the field card or additional rule always takes precedence. So in this case, the Fog is telling you, pick a number, whatever that number ends up being, and you must play that same number all the way across. So if the green player is the first player and they put a 1 here, everyone else has to play a 1 all the way through until you unlock an Eternal. Now the restriction of same color still applies, so you cannot put another green 1 here. It must be a different color, but it has to be the same number. The next one to go over, let's just flip them over in a row. Then we have the Lost Forest. And the Lost Forest means you cannot have a number that is 2 away from the card you just played. So if you were to play a 1, you could not have a 2 or a 3 because that is 2 consecutive values away from a 1. Additionally, it is telling you you must have the same color or a purple going all the way across. So in this case, this would be legal because there's 2 greens next to each other and you have to have the same color next to each other. And that's where you'll start to notice why these purple star bonuses are great for this stage, because it allows you to play more purple cards in this row. The stage B Eternals are also the ones that have the purple cards available in their decks. So as you unlock them, some of these will become a little bit easier. Going over the next one, we have here is the Festival. So the Festival is essentially a camp with an additional bonus. When this is in play, all players on their turn can play 1 or 2 cards to the field and or the river in any combination. So if it was the green player's turn and they had these 3 cards in their hand, they could choose to play 1 card here and 1 card down there. Or they could play 2 cards into the field. It's any row of your choice. It just simply allows you to play 2 cards instead of 1 on your turn. You, of course, can still choose to just play 1 card on your turn. That's totally fine. It's just this is giving you that option to allow you to play both if you wanted to. But as soon as you clear a row, this card would go away and you'd no longer have that ability available to you. And finally, the last one is the Castle. And this one is similar to the Mountain, where you must ascend low numbers to high numbers, but you have to have the same color all the way through or purple cards. When an Eternal is revived for the first time in the top row, there will be a few steps you'll have to follow. These will differ slightly from the normal way you revive an Eternal. So let's say, for example, it's the green player's turn and they've played this green 4. They followed the castle by ascending and having all the same color, or there could have been purple. But in this case, they played the last card. They will now unlock any one of these 4 Eternals. Let's say they decide to take the skeleton. In this case, they will move the key into this key placement area, getting their first of the 4 keys they need to win the game. They will then take the skeleton Eternal, flip it over to its colorful side as normal, and instead of placing it up into the revival area as normal, it will go down onto the stage B card instead. They will take the 8 cards that were shuffled during setup and place them under their player deck if they have any cards there already. They will of course then clear the row, putting any cards from that row in the discard pile, sliding any Eternals over, and drawing back up to their hand of 3. Their curse is still active while they're in this area, but now to cover that curse, you have to use this jewel and this jewel only. Any jewels from the normal jewel area cannot be used on the Eternal in this stage B card area. To do that, you have to either play a 4 or any 2 cards to the river. When you do that, you'll take the jewel and you'll place it over top of the curse as normal. Additionally, whenever you clear a row, you will always remove the top card from that field card area and place it in the discard pile and flip the next one face up. If you're playing on a harder difficulty mode and you have any additional field cards in the middle or bottom row, you would do the same thing. So if we completed this bottom row, the lake would get discarded and we would flip the next one face up and complete that through all 4 rows. Now, whenever you complete the top row for a second time, the first thing you'll do, if you've placed this jewel on top of the Eternal, you need to put it back to its original spot. You will then move the Eternal to the leftmost empty space in the revival area. Then whichever Eternal you choose to revive, you'll take that key, placing it in the key placement area, flipping the next Eternal face up in this stage B area, taking the 8 cards as usual, putting them under your player deck, and then drawing back up to 3, clearing out the cards, discarding this top card, flipping it over, and going to the next player. The main thing to note here is this jewel is always a temporary jewel whenever you cover up the B Eternal's curse. You can always do this, but when you revive another B Eternal, these ones always come back up top into the main revival area, so the curses become active again. So even if again, just hammering this home, if I had covered up the ghost on a previous turn by discarding a 4 or any 2 cards, as soon as we revive another B Eternal, this comes back up here and the curse is active again. The only way to cover that up is by generating a jewel as normal from the normal jewel area. Either way, play will continue like this until you have gotten all 4 keys, in which case the players win. Players will lose as you would during stage A if a player cannot take an action on their turn, or if you have drawn all river rare cards and the next time you clear the field and you're supposed to draw one of them, you instead draw the game over card. Otherwise, that's everything you need to know to play Stage B of Eternal decks. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and I'll get to them as soon as I can. Thanks so much for watching.